When you're watching a dancer take her clothes off, probably the last thing on your mind is, but who was the first person to take her clothes off in a sexy, sexy way? But the history of stripping and the striptease is as old as time. Here to hear more? Stay tuned. The history of the striptease is so old that it's canonized both in the Bible and ancient Sumerian myth, the Sumerians being the OG of ancient civilizations. In Sumerian lore, there is a tale of the goddess Inanna, who descended into the underworld, taking off a piece of jewelry or clothing at each of its 7 gates. As long as she remained in the underworld, the earth stayed barren, so it's a fertility story as well. In the Bible, a woman named Salome did a striptease. Salome danced for King Herod, lucky guy, in Matthew 14:6 and Mark 6:21-22. Click the like button if you never expected me to reference specific Bible verses in one of my videos. I know I have to click it. In ancient Greece, there were different classes of sex workers, and one class were dancers, musicians, and acrobats who danced naked to music. In ancient Rome, stripping was part of the festival to honor the goddess Flora, another reference to fertility. I guess all of this is unsurprising, taking your clothes off being part of procreation in the usual way. In the Byzantine Empire, one stripper, who performed many sexual shows in a number of plays, even became empress. Apparently, even in those days, stripping was a decent way to land a rich and powerful husband. She was most famous for her performance in Leda and the Swan, which is a play about a woman being raped by Zeus in swan form. I don't know how that's sexy, but some people must have thought it was. Empress Theodora's performance was definitely not one of a kind, or even uncommon, but the growing church opposed it and all like it. They successfully passed bans over the following century. We don't know how successful those bans were initially, but the European Middle Ages have no records of stripping. It was truly a dark time. The striptease made a comeback during the Restoration, around the 1660s. The first known stripper in this case was a man, and it was played for comedy. He undresses sensually in a play, only to be robbed by the courtesan he's seeing, and has to climb out through the sewer. Stripping became a staple in brothels in the 1800s, where posture girls would strip naked and dance on tables. That's really similar to the form stripping takes today, although their heels weren't nearly so high, so dancing without a pole wasn't quite so dangerous. We think of stripping as requiring music, but that wasn't always the case. However, stripteases were combined with music off and on throughout history. Dancers even danced to opera music in the 1700s for high aristocrats in Germany. I can't imagine how this would be sexy, but get dirty how you want to get dirty. Speaking of getting dirty, we think of the French as pioneers in all things sexy, but the French striptease was likely influenced by Arabic practice, brought back by French colonialists and their writers. Their sexy dances included the somehow erotic dance of the bee, where a woman removes pieces of her clothing while searching for an imaginary bee that has been trapped within them. It's certainly an innovative rationale for a strip show, but if you've ever seen somebody with a hornet in their shorts, you know that the resulting show is more hilarious than alluring. Belly dancing, of course, also came to us from the Middle East, and was popularized in the US at the 1893 World's Fair. At the time, this was very exotic and provocative. Nowadays, we mostly watch it with our children at Renaissance festivals, dressed in gowns and tunics, and for some reason, fairy wings. But on to the modern striptease, performed in burlesque shows, strip clubs, and the bedrooms of people who've gotten bored with the usual in and out. Some say it began with Oscar Wilde's play Salome in 1893, which is a stretch of the word modern, but bear with me. The female protagonist dances for King Herod from the Bible, the Dance of the 7 Veils, where she slowly removes each veil until she is naked. The Dance of the 7 Veils became common in vaudeville shows, film, opera, and burlesque. In 1907, a dancer gave a private showing of this dance to King Edward VII. Nowadays, English princes can't even marry American actresses without all hell breaking loose. When the French poached stripping from the Middle East, they must have decided that a bee in your clothes was just too sexy, so in their version it was a flea. Disgustingly, the People's Almanac states that was the beginning of the modern striptease. A Dutch dancer who was later shot by the French during World War I was famous for a performance where she stripped down to just a jeweled bra and ornaments on her arms, neck, and head. Pretty soon after came the birth of the iconic shell bra, when Jermaine Imos entered a performance at the Moulin Rouge wearing just 3 tiny shells. In my opinion, this is more like the birth of modern stripping. Shows featuring women in glitzy sequins and feathers followed after. By the 1960s, French dancers were performing fully nude. A note here: even at this point, there appears to have been some realization that sex work was a necessary part of life that did some good for society. A studier of the signs of the physical senses, Roland Barthes, said that the Parisian striptease was a reassuring ritual where evil is advertised the better to impede and exercise it. This is a little far from sex work is important work and sex work is good for society, which is the official stance of this channel. But it shows us that some discussions were being had other than, these women will doom us all to hell by showing some skin. The US had to be extra, so while the French were pioneering the shell bra, we had stripping trapeze shows, which were even captured on film by Thomas Edison. In 1937, New York banned the striptease, which led to its decline, but not its full eradication, because, of course. In the 1960s, partially nude dancing had a comeback in the form of topless go-go dancers. This merged with burlesque to lead to the first American strip clubs. Carol Doda is thought to have been the first topless go-go dancer at the Condor nightclub in San Francisco. The club lost its bottoms in 1969, which was a great year for it, and became fully nude. Other clubs soon followed suit. If you like this video and haven't already, please click the like button. Also keep an eye out. What followed the striptease was actual strip clubs, lap dances, and pole dancing, which I'll be getting into soon. Hit the bell icon if you want to be notified about these videos. Over here is a playlist of stripper-themed history videos. The previous one was the history of the thong and the pasty. Also, if you have gotten this far, by all means subscribe. Much love.